Hi, I'm Linda Welbrock, co-founder of Own It Ventures, and today I have Sarah Klosick with me from Fox Rothschild. She is an attorney here who specializes in trademark law and protecting basically your intellectual property. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about what it is that you do and how you can help business owners.
Absolutely. I'm an intellectual property attorney, so what that means is I help clients obtain patents, trademarks, copyrights. That also includes trade secret law. Patents are a right that's granted by the government to an inventor to exclude others from making, using, selling, offering for sale, or importing an invention into the United States.
Okay.
So it's helpful because it's sort of a barrier to market entry. It's going to give you a finite period of time where you are the sole marketer of your product. No one else can do it. And that's in exchange for the patent, where you give a thorough explanation of what the invention is and how to make it and how people can use it.
Okay.
So that's sort of the trade-off with patent law versus trade secret, where it's information that someone that's used in business, they have an economic advantage over others who don't use it or know about it. So the value in trade secret is that it's kept a secret, and so if it ever becomes independently discovered, or if it is no longer no longer a secret by the holder, they lose that protection.
Okay.
And that's in contrast with patent law.
So let me ask you this. For a business owner, at what stage should they start thinking about protecting their intellectual property?
They should probably at least start thinking about it early on.
Okay.
Especially because there are some time bars that are involved. For example, with patents, if whatever it is, it can be a method, it could be a composition, so it could be a product, it could be a method of doing something. If this knowledge is in public domain for more than a year, it's deemed public. You can no longer get patent protection on it.
Okay.
So you want to be very careful when you have an idea for something to keep it close to the vest and keep it secret.
Okay.
So you want to think early on about protecting something with a patent. Trademarks are a little different. You want to think about that type of protection. What a trademark is it is a word or a symbol or a design or some combination that distinguishes and identifies the source of goods as being you versus somebody else. And what you can do, though, you can use a trademark that you come up with, some symbol or phrase or something associated with your product, and you can use it in the public and go after a trademark down the road. Go after registering it with the government. Okay,
and so in terms of the process for protecting yourself with a trademark or a patent, what would happen? I mean, do you suggest everyone use an attorney, or can someone do this on their own, or what's best practices, and what's the process for getting it done properly?
Sure. There's no requirement to have an attorney, but the attorneys are going to have the inside knowledge of how to really do things an efficient way and do things more of a correct way. You're going to have, in the end, a patent or a trademark that's really enforceable, and that's key. So you can look for referrals for attorneys from others in the field, contact attorneys, ask the attorneys that you contact to provide you with referrals of clients who have been with them for a number of years, who they've helped through this process. Because you want to kind of distinguish attorneys who are going to take on a project, maybe for the project's sake, and not want to be with a client in the long run. So that's something to look out for. So you want to try and find someone who does have clients in that capacity, and they should be able to give you websites or companies or something where you can go and take a look and see the work that they've done for these clients.
Okay. So for a product-based business, or for many businesses where you have tangible items, it seems obvious that you'd want to protect yourself with a trademark or a patent. But what about the service-based business? Is any of that information, can that be protected anyway, or how do you handle that?
There's a couple things. You can get like I said, you can have patent protection on methods. So if there's a new and inventive method that you're using in your service-based business, you can certainly have that protected with a patent. And it sort of falls under the umbrella of trademarks. There's a service mark. And so a service mark is sort of along the same lines as a trademark. It's a logo, a design, a phrase, a word that's going to distinguish the source of the service from someone else. versus yours versus someone else, and then it's going to protect you because people are going to come to know your quality of business.
Okay.
And it's a protection for the consumer because then they're guaranteed that quality that they've gotten before. They're going to come to know the name and associate quality with that name.
Right.
So that's why it's very important to have that associated with you and you alone.
Okay. Now, if you are a small business owner, or say you're not even incorporated yet, and you come up with an idea that you think is the next big thing, and how do you protect yourself in discussions? I mean, is there any suggestions that you can, tell our women business owners about and how they can protect themselves?
Well, there are what's called confidentiality agreements
right.
that you would have the other party execute before you would bring them anything to the table to tell them about. And that's something that you should have an attorney involved to make sure that you're protected and and covered in these types of situations, because we've seen a couple of instances where inventors have gone in and they haven't been protected, and it's really created some issues down the road for them as far as whose idea was what, who came up with what information, because in these discussions the other side, they may come up with some sort of tweaks to your idea. So then inventorship becomes blurred. Who invented what? Who came up with this? And confidentiality agreements
That's great.
Can incorporate something along the lines of what happens to disclosed information and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's great information, and I think that that answers a lot of questions. So
I'm glad.
Yeah, so Sarah, it was a pleasure having you with us today, and again, we're expecting Fox Rothschild at the next event on October 29th at the Morristown Hyatt, and you can ask Sarah your questions on intellectual property firsthand. So
wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for your time and for your expert advice.
Great.
We appreciate it.
Thanks so much.